Paul, Uncle Paulie, dude, thank you so much for being on the show today, coming over here and lending your insights with us.
Always brilliant speaking with you, Pavan. Thanks for making time.
Yeah, man. So let's start with this. Why don't you give folks just kind of a little bit of context of who you are and what you're all about professionally?
Yeah, terrific. Well, going to take a minute or two because I've got the classic portfolio career. You know, when you get to my age, you've got what I call a career mosaic, which means you do a lot of stuff.
You
But I
sell
guess if we
guitars
break
and then
exactly, man. But if we break it down, I mean, I'm the association guy, so I hold 3 non-executive board roles in retail associations. I'm on the board of the National Retail Association of Australia. I'm on the board of the National Online Retailers Association, or NORA, of Australia. And more recently, the vice chair of the Federation of International Retail Associations, run out of the US, under the badge of the NRF. So that's the association guy. That's me. Then I'm always the kind of hustler looking for startup and retail tech opportunities. Still doing a bit of that. That's keeping me busy. And then lastly, a lot of people don't know I have a background in psychological services from my early years. And this whole COVID-19 has put me back into that. So I'm a registered psychologist in Australia, have been for 25 years. I'm focusing on psychological services and particularly how we're managing the change and how we deal, how the resilience required in the current environment. So those are my 3 buckets. I hope that makes sense, Pav.
Yeah, absolutely. And so where are you these days? Like, where are you writing this whole thing out?
I'm writing it out in Sydney, about an hour out of Sydney, an hour from the Harbour Bridge. I'm fortunate to have a little farm or farmlet. It's a kind of natural bush setting on about 20 acres, and just working from here with my lovely wife, Adele. And you probably don't know this, but around this time, I kept it as a bit of a surprise. We were going to come spend a bit of time in New York. And with my new role at FIRA, the Federation of International Retail Association, and some of the things I'm doing with Aussie retail tech companies, I was going to come and spend some time, get to know you a bit better and the family and all my industry friends and, mates in the States. So I'm feeling a little bit of that separation, but it is what it is, as they say. So yeah, so in Sydney and here for the foreseeable future.
Well, when you were out here in January, you came with your son Max. Is he still planning on coming out this way for what reason? I know he was looking for internships and he's maybe thinking about schooling out this way. But
yeah, he fell in love with the US, and people like yourself and your business partner gave him so much time and attention and ideas. So he was buzzing when he came back. And yeah, I mean, he's studying remotely, as we all are, as all the kids are. But he's desperate to get back. And I think the American spirit, technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation just hit him straight between the eyes. So expect him on your doorstep, Pavan, when the dust settles and the planes start flying, man.
Yeah, we're hoping that it's going to be sooner rather than later. However, so let's, how has things impacted the work that you're currently focused on these days?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Well, on the association side, it's tough going. I mean, I'm non-executive, so we're supporting the various teams in those industry bodies, supporting the members, the retailers. And as you'd predictably accept and expect, it's tough going in the retail trenches, with paradoxically, of course, or not unexpectedly, the one silver lining being online retail in a rather gloomy cloud. So I guess the more established, if you like, traditional retailers are feeling the pain of change. Many of them, obviously, as you know, can't open their stores, but many of them now have digital capacity, really good digital capacity, and they really pushing hard on this acceleration of online retail in the market. So it's going to pick up even quicker. So yeah, so we're really supporting them, getting closer to government, working with government on policy and intervention, and generally, as I said, providing some compassionate listening to some people who are really having it tougher than many of us.
Yeah, for folks that are not privy to, the inner workings of the retail industry, the federations like yourself, and correct me if I'm wrong, you act almost as a voice for the overarching industry. You gather folks around different conferences and environments. You lead executive board style retreats, and you deliver education to big box retailers around the world. and I mean, and of course, from what I'm hearing now is that you're doing some lobbying in terms of advocating for, some reprieve in this time.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a very broad a mosaic again, or portfolio of what we do. But you're absolutely right. All of the above. Like yourself, we're a catalyzer for collaboration and conversation. And really, retailers now more than ever are reaching out to each other, but they often need an intermediary. You're doing it, I'm doing it, getting the conversations going. So I've got at 3:30 p.m. Australian time, I've got to meet up with the investment community, all the retail analysts from UBS and others, talking to a broad portfolio of retailers and really sharing trends and insights in this COVID-19 scenario time. So all of the above, and it gets complicated because retail's a very broad church, as you know. So it's very hard to get one synthesized voice. We try our best, but naturally, every retail vertical in this broad church has different needs and requirements. But I think the key is just to keep going, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Absolutely. And how are you, like, what type of questions are you fielding? What type of concerns are you addressing at this moment? And where does it stem from? Is this overarching? Are you focusing your efforts on the Australian ecosystem as you're on the board of a couple different retail federations there, or more broadly, are you focusing on kind of patchwork on the global infrastructure at this point?
It's a great question. I'd have to say in good faith that really I'm very much focused on the Australian ecosystem at the moment. But having said that, I'm a broad advocate, as are you. I mean, we met in Copenhagen for the first time. I'm a broad advocate for a borderless retail, a flat world, a cross-border retail. So clearly I'm focusing on the Australian retail ecosystem and how I can contribute in some way to the health, particularly when we get to the other side of this. But a big part of that pillar is, how do they go global? And where are the cross-border opportunities? I'm saying that perhaps a global niche in today's world would trump a domestic play here. We're 25 million people as a total population. So this has been from the beginning of my work in associations. I'm a big fan of the borderless world, particularly when it comes to consumer direct and online retail.
Are you finding that, from what I hear, of course, from East Asia and, Australia being so close or closest to that ecosystem, the air freight these days is just skyrocketing. Is that an impact that you're feeling down under as well?
Well, it's an interesting one. Yes, definitely. I mean, the forces of supply and demand have never been stronger. I mean, look at the oil price yesterday, we're negative. So the market's kind of, doing its own thing. And for many of us, I mean, yes, freight's gone through the roof. Having said that, though, so it's definitely impacting, but having said that, there are now some very innovative and progressive freight companies that are chartering their own planes, really trying to work together, trying to get retailers to collaborate and share their freight loads, long haul. And even on the last mile side, we're seeing really some innovation in sharing economy, collaborative consumption business models, not unlike in Uber. So everyone's stepping up to this changing time, and the marketplace can solve for itself sometimes. When things go out of kilter, new solutions rise to meet the need. So I remain cautiously optimistic, but it's really tough times and very variable.
Well, so given that response, I mean, what are you most excited about? What are the silver lining activities and buildings that are happening that you're privy to, observing?
Well, the acceleration, Pavan, of digital, the acceleration of online. I mean, that's been my world for a long time, as you know. And I've always advocated for a multi-touch retail, kind of a phygital retail, as we've been calling it on some of your podcasts. And, clearly, though, I felt that in Australia, some of the retailers have lagged behind on the online retail, which I've said is everyone's opportunity. It's not just the pure players. And so that's accelerating very quickly. I'm excited about that. Look, on the physical retail side, and I mean, you can roll your eyes and be cynical, as some are with me, but the landlords are coming to the party. They've spoken for decades about partnerships with retail. They've talked the talk, but they haven't always walked the walk. Now we're seeing big mall owners, big strip owners sitting down with the retailers and saying, how are we going to make this work as a collaborative partnership? And that's been a long time coming. So I'm pleased to see that. I'm seeing, obviously the Australian government have been very generous and supportive, as have your government in the US, in terms of bringing new training subsidies, wage subsidy programs to get people reskilling to a different environment. I think things will look different when we come out of the other side of that. So I'm excited about the upskilling as our people in retail move up the value chain to this more digital-led, customer-centric retail. Give that a big tick. And then, yeah, I'm excited about the entrepreneurship. Did we get a WhatsApp message drop down there?
What's that?
No, I saw a WhatsApp message. I thought, oh, well, that's digital, but it didn't come to you. Cool. So there's 3 or 4 things that are getting my juices flowing. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, but it's, like I guess everybody at this stage, it's too early to really project how the consumer is going to engage again with physical. So of course, online has been as you said, a kind of a glimmer of light in a dark cloud, and a very surprising one, to tell you the truth. Given the economic situation with a lot of folks getting laid off and such. But I'm wondering if you have at this stage formed any kind of hypotheses or kind of vision for what happens to the physical footprint, and how customers are going to react to retail again, or anywhere, to tell you the truth. Right?
Anywhere.
It's crazy.
Well, great question. I've been criticized in the past for being, too opinion driven, too limbic. That lovely saying, if we've got facts, we've got facts. If we've got opinions, we'll use yours or we'll use mine. Well, I think we're all very much in the opinion phase now, because it's such a shifting landscape, because there's so many variables, because we don't have consistent data. I think opinion is going to be very important. And my view, which is just a view, just an opinion, not data driven, is that it's a cautiously optimistic one. That we're an adaptable and adjustable species. Physical retail, has already started looking different. Over the last, since I've been coming to the big show and since I've met you, I've seen a more experiential retail. We spend a bit of time, thanks to your event, with Camp, and they're a fine example of combining different revenue streams. They sell product, they run events, they've got sponsorship. I think that's going to continue. So we're going to see a more experiential, less transactional retail. We're going to see a shape shifting, I think, in size. Some of the stores are just too big. So we'll see a downsizing of that. Sorry, Pav, did I lose you there again? Phone call came through.
Yeah, it went black, but your voice continued. So we'll just take a quick stop and just restart.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Sorry, the phone's ringing a little bit really high.
No, but I heard, and you'll see a downsizing of that. So
we'll see a shape shifting in retail. The footprint's too big. Arguably, some areas are over retail, but these are not new narratives. I think they'll just accelerate. We're going to see a cross-border boom as the world's increasingly flatter, and I think that's going to be excellent. And yeah, your point is crucial. That at the core of all of this is the consumer, their confidence, their want or need to spend. I think we're going to see, and I think we'd both be pleased, we're going to see an increasingly demanding consumer wanting to see profit alongside purpose, cause alongside commerce. We're going to see an enormous shift to sustainability. I think we'll see a resurgence of the circular economy like we've never seen before. There's just too much stuff, is a fair argument. And I think we'll see a continuing rise of the sharing economy. It's an area I'm very excited about. So I think those are a few scenarios that'll come good. Clearly, as we've said, online retail will continue to grow. And, sadly, we're going to see some natural casualties. I hate to use the word Darwinian, but I think we do have to be pragmatic, that those who just weren't going to make it are not going to make it. Particularly shout out. Yeah.
I feel like we're just literally like speeding up 10 years. You know what I mean? We're looking. Hold on, I'll wait for that
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's exactly how I feel. I feel that we're just basically speeding up the cycle, right? So the ones that were going to fall, to your point, um, they're going to do that earlier rather than later. And the ones that
exactly. And
in the right way, they're consumer centric. They were listening to the pulse of their audience. They made real connection and narratives. They'll
yeah,
be able to withstand this and have community behind them, and the shoppers will come back. But it's wild. It really is. It's very interesting. I'm excited for all of those things that you mentioned in terms of sustainability, circular economy, cause-driven commerce. I mean, these are required changes, and look, we're very close to this industry, right?
yeah,
We talk it all
yeah,
the time, and the term circular economy is, I mean, has really risen in retail a year ago, like within a year,
yeah,
15 months. And
yeah,
it's, it's just a natural acceleration now, right? So before it was sustainability, we've been talking about it for a while. People have been taking it seriously for a long time. The consumer is taking it extremely seriously now, but it will now further that mindset and that purchasing intent. So it is an exciting time for that, despite a rather gloomy and desperate feeling now. You know.
yeah. No, and I completely, whatever you said there is resonant with me. I have a sort of a bit of an ache, because when we talk about the broad landscape, obviously we need to recognize there's people involved and there will be casualties, and that's where I dust off my psychological services shingle, and I'm starting to spend a little bit of time just chatting with people who are really grieving the loss of their business, and more importantly, the loss of their vision, for what they had planned for the next 5-10 years has been washed away. But yeah, I'm mindful and hopeful that people will pivot, as a well-used term at the moment, clearly, and will reframe and re-educate. And I'm a big fan of resilience. So particularly in hospitality and catering, we're seeing a terrible, a real serious attrition. But the free market, I think it was Churchill who said, the worst system in the world, except for the others, is the free market. And you're right, we're going to see a bit of a cleanup, a washout of just those who weren't able to scale with the change.
Paul, before we go, are there any new initiatives or things that you're working on specifically that is a result or inspired by the current environment?
Well, Nora, the National Online Retailers Association, you've been such a good friend and supporter, and you've got a big fan base here, Pav, and have really been very dependent on events, physical events, whether it be the online retailer show in July, whether it be the network dinners that we do. And I've just been in such awe of the leadership team, Katie, Brittany. We've got a new team member, Gray Roberts, on board. They've gone entirely digital. So here's an association and business network that has in weeks has gone from a physical event-driven organization to ensure its sustainability to an entirely digital one. And yeah, I mean, they're still going strong. They're doing some good work. And I think on the other side of this, we might see a permanent change. I don't think we're going to go back to the way things were.
Excellent. And Paul, what type of folks are you looking to connect with these days specifically? And what is the best way to follow your work or maybe reach you directly?
Thanks for the opportunity. Well, retail tech is my passion now. I'm having virtual coffees every day with Australian retail tech entrepreneurs who are creating technology solutions that reduce friction for shoppers, help merchants grow their businesses. And I'm looking to talk to those folk who are looking for advice, advocacy, ambassadorship, and capital. I'd love to have a chat with them, and nothing to lose having a quick virtual coffee. So yeah, and LinkedIn is still my platform of choice. I've actually taken a bit of a break from other social media. I don't know why, maybe just time. So yeah, LinkedIn, Paul Greenberg, pretty easy to find. You can't miss this face, I'm afraid.
Perfect, man. Well, I can't wait to see this face in real life again. I feel like a little bit at a loss, the fact that now I'm knowing that you would have been here right now. So that's unfortunate. We would have been running around this town a little bit. So, you know,
let's hold the faith. 2021, Pavan. I'm telling you, 2021, big show January. I'm going to be there and I'm going to stay there.
All right, good deal. Well, we'll look forward to it. And thank you so much for your time and lending your insights and your forecasts for the future. And really appreciate it.
Wonderful. And I'm glad you're healthy and the family is, and send my love to New York and particularly those people who've had such a hard time. We're with you guys.
Yeah, 100%, man. We'll do. Cheers, brother.